Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we start the program, let me get the blessings of God. First, I like to call our Lai Hazrat to lead us in prayer.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, sir, for starting this program with blessings of God. Next, I like to call Miss Ashia Sabah to say Hadith.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। हदीस मिफ्ताउल जन्नत सलात, तर्जुमा जन्नत की कुंजी चाबी नमाज है। अस्सलामु अलैकुम।
Thank you, Ashia Miss. Next, I would like to call Mubashira Miss to say dua.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। जहरीले जानवरों से बचने की दुआ। औज़ु बिकलिमतिल्लाहि ताम्मति मिन शर्रि मा खलक़। अस्सलामु अलैकुम।
Thank you, Mubashira Miss. Extend a warm welcome to all of this for this exclusive first aid awareness program. Our Green Valley School is the first school in Tamil Nadu going to conduct online flick training for first aid. I find immense pleasure in introducing our honorable correspondent of our Green Valley Schools, Mrs. Aisha Javed, and guest speakers, Mr. Raghuram Malladi, founder of Utsahin, the Educating Minds Hyderabad, and Mr. Anirban, principal of Enterprise Architect TechMahindra, and our respected parents, teachers, and my dear students. The agenda of the program will include speech, message, skit, and awareness program through various teachers and real life examples. I ensure the program will be useful and next few hours will be knowledgeable and fruitful for every one of you. Thank you. Now put your hands together to welcome our correspondent ma'am, Mrs. Aisha Javed, to give a speech about First Aid Day program.
Good morning to all. Millions of people are hurt or killed from injuries every year because adequate and timely assistance is not provided. Simple first aid skills and the confidence to use them can save lives. And everyone, if properly trained, has the potential to save lives. Each year, more than 100 Red Cross and Red Crescent societies around the world organize events and ceremonies on the second Saturday of September. This day is called the World First Aid Day, and this year we are celebrating it on 12th of September. It raises a public awareness of how first aid can save lives in emergency and crisis situation. IFRC, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, founded the World First Aid Day in the year 2000. First aid comes as an immediate response for an emergency, taking life-saving measures before the professional help arrives. Green Valley Educational Institutions has arranged for an exclusive awareness program on World First Aid Day. I thank our special speakers, Mr. Raghuram Malladi, the founder of Utsahin Group, the Educating Minds from Hyderabad, and Mr. Anirban, the principal enterprise architect IBUS of TechMahindra, for enlightening our students, teachers, and parents with about the importance of this day. I thank Mr. Kader Khan, the academic head of Green Valley Educational Institutions, for having invited them as speakers. Both of them are amazing speakers who can inspire the audience with any given topic. I sincerely thank Mr. Arun Kumar, the principal of Green Valley CBSE School of Excellence, for sharing his views about the World First Aid Day. I would also like to thank Ms. Saraswati, the principal of Green Valley Matriculation School, for presenting this program with an amazing anchoring. I thank Ms. Malladi the headmistress of Green Valley Nursery and Primary School. She is the event coordinator for this World First Aid Day, and her support has been provided from Miss Meena, who has also delivered a wonderful speech in English. I thank Mr. Rajiv, the marketing head of Green Valley Educational Institutions, for providing tips of how to use the first aid kit. Mr. Laikur Rahman has amazed us with an inspiring speech in Urdu about the different situations where first aid is needed. I would also like to thank all the teachers who have participated in mine: Miss Pavitra, Miss Shafia, Miss Mubashira, Miss Arshya Sabha, Miss Silambarasi, and Miss Meena. They have really enlightened us of how to provide first aid in different situations. I would also like to thank Afzal for this video editing and presenting in front of you to our parents, teachers, and students. From my side, I would like to tell you that the Red Cross and the Red Crescent societies have taken this initiative so that the public gets an awareness about the World First Aid Day. Its primary goal is to save life and help from worsening conditions. I would also like to tell you one thing, that the first aid that we can give to any person is instilling hope. Once the person, the victim, feels that there is a person around him to help him, that saves him at least 20 to 30%, and the first aid provided saves him 50 to 60%. And the moment when we make him reach the proper hospital with proper doctors, definitely 100%, definitely 80% he is saved. The rest is in the hands of people. Before we could go for rescue of other lives, we have to take care of ourselves. Our stomach gets injured if we skip breakfast. Our kidneys get injured if there is lack of water. Our gallbladder gets injured if we are going to take a lot of fried foods. The lungs gets injured if we smoke and we stay in a polluted place. The small intestines gets injured if we are going to eat cold and stale food. The large intestine gets injured when we are going to take a lot of fried foods. The heart gets injured if we are going to take salt and more of cholesterol foods. The brain gets injured when we think negatively, and the soul gets injured if we are not going to share our love, affection, knowledge to others, and if we are not going to take care of our body. So first you take care of yourself, and then you go for the rescue of others. Learn to save others, and let's spread humanity. Thank you. This was Mrs. Aisha Javed, the correspondent of Green Valley Educational Institutions.
Thank you, ma'am, for your courageous speech. Next, I would like to call upon our Green Valley School academic head, Mr. Khadir Khan, to give a speech about First Aid Day program.
Assalamu alaikum, and a very happy morning to all the parents and students of Green Valley Group of Schools, Metric and CBSE Pernambut. I wish all of you happy and educative World First Aid Day. Now the first question is, what is this actually first aid is? By the word first aid, immediate response or immediate treatment we are giving to a patient who is suffering from a minor injury or a serious injury. We are giving them an immediate treatment. This treatment will help them to recover from the worsening of the disease or worsening of the injury. It will give a proper recovery time for them. So what is this actually? You will definitely see in this video from our guest speakers as well as our teachers. They are educating us, all of us, that to what is first aid actually is and what is the importance of first aid, especially in students' life in school and everyone. So I request all the parents and students to see this video until it is ending, because we have a beautiful skit also in this, which is a self-explanatory skit of our teachers, what is first aid. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you for your valuable speech, sir. Now please put your hands together to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Raghuram Malladi, founder of Utsahin, the Educating Minds, Hyderabad.
Hello students, parents, teachers and management of Green Valley Schools, Pernambut. I am Raghuram from Hyderabad. I am here to share with you the importance of celebrating First Aid Day. There are only 20 to 30% of people who are skillful in providing first aid. The rest of others need to be given proper training about the value of first aid and usage of first aid kit. To awake the society on how first aid can save lives, we celebrate today as First Aid Day. As we all know, the first aid is an important life skill that helps us to reduce the fatalities and enables the faster treatment of injuries. It is also has an important role to play in providing all of us with a sense of purpose and achievement. How happy one will be when one of us provide them with immediate care that will potentially save lives by immediate attention towards them in the absence of any health professional. If we see around, we find that lakhs of people who get hurt or killed due to injuries every year. Immediate action and applying proper techniques can reduce the death rate and injuries. It is not at all wrong to say that it is an emergency doctor that will always remain within us. We can save the lives of our loved ones and ourselves. Let us see in what all occasions we can act on the first aid. While bleeding, burns, heat stroke, unresponsiveness and unconsciousness, head injuries, bone injuries, muscle injuries, joint injuries, choking, fainting, chest pains, poisoning, asthma, allergic reactions. During these occasions, we have to be very, very attentive towards these people who needs our support. How do we do that? First and most important task is to be calm and not to get panicky and shout at the person who is injured. Make the other person calm down, then focus on the 5 P's which I am going to mention now. The first P is preserve life. Life is very important. Prevent the escalation of the illness or injury. Promote recovery by taking immediate action. Pain relief by applying relevant treatment. Protect the unconscious person and call for immediate medical attention. So 5 P's are preserve, prevent, promote, pain relief and protect. Remember students, first aid cannot be a substitute for the emergency service, but it is a primary action as a citizen that helps in reducing the pain and any further serious cause. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable speech, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Next, I would request our guest speaker, Mr. Anirban, Principal Enterprise Architect, IBUS TechMahindra, to give a valuable speech about first aid program.
Hello students, parents, teachers and all guests. A hearty good morning, good afternoon and good evening to each of you, depending upon what time zone you are in. My name is Anirban and I work as an enterprise architect with a company called TechMahindra. Right from our childhood, we've been taught the importance of health, hygiene and first aid. Commemorating and celebrating the International First Aid Day on the 14th of September, Here's a brief message that I would like to share with all of you. What's first aid? It is the first and immediate assistance that anyone can offer a person in need who is either undergoing suffering due to a severe injury, a severe sickness or illness, or any kind of medical conditions. We are often notified and taught by our teachers and elders on the importance of first aid. But many a time we oversee its importance and ignore the important facets of first aid that can save lives and also prevent people from serious injury. How do we do first aid? And at the school level, especially for school children, how do we teach them the importance of first aid? Is first by inculcating the aspect of practical first aid in schools. I would request parents and teachers to mentor your respective wards and children on how to do first aid, what kind of situations need first aid, and also, if possible, conduct practical sessions on first aid once in a while in schools. First aid is needed in different situations. Some of these could be: what happens when a person is feeling breathless? What happens when a person is bitten by a snake? What would be your response? What happens if a child ends up gulping something that chokes the child, like a child gulping a coin or a play toy? In these kind of situations, you need to give immediate assistance in the right format before you can get formal medical attention from a medical practitioner. These situations may demand us to take care of the 3 P's. First P is preserving life. Prevent situations and ensure that you can save lives when situations of medical or injury-oriented emergencies arise. The second P is prevention of harm. Ensure that you prevent further harm in the case of injuries or in the case of situations where internal or external factors have already affected a person's condition. Sometimes these conditions can be also due to existing medical conditions such as asphyxiation or the breathlessness that is caused either due to choking or due to medical conditions like asthma. How do we react in these situations? How do we respond to and ensure that we prevent further harm of the individual undergoing the situation? That's the second P. The third P is promote recovery. Promoting recovery involves giving the right set of assistance or processes to an ill or injured person that will ensure that the person can recover soon from the condition. These can be simple small things like using tincture of iodine or some kind of an antiseptic to wipe an injury or a wound, or plastering a wound, or can even involve something more involved like using neutralizers and oxidizing agents like potassium permanganate to clean an area where there is a snake bite. Oxidizing agents neutralize or reduce the impact of a snake bite. Now these are the 3 P's. Once again, preserving life, preventing further harm, and promoting recovery. Also, understanding the various kinds of emergencies, often known as the 4 B's, that is, ensuring breathing, prevention of excessive bleeding, understanding simple burns, and understanding injury to bones. So these are the 4 B's that need to be taught in schools. How to ensure the breath channel stays clear. Oftentimes when someone is asphyxiating, the first thing to do is to ensure that the person's breath channels are kept open. That is, do not serve them water or drinks. Instead, try to give them a tight push on their bellies that will ensure that they start breathing again if they are choking. If there is something in their mouth, explicitly, especially in the case of children, check their mouths to remove the blockage. In the cases of excessive bleeding, try to ensure that you tie a tight bandage around the area that is injured if such a bandage is possible, example, in the arms or the legs. But in the case of excessive bleeding in the vital organs, try to apply pressure around the place to reduce the flow of blood. When there is a burn, if the burn is small, ensure that you pour in profuse amounts of cold water to first hydrate the place. Also, ensure that the patient can take some amount of water through their mouth orally if that will not affect the patient's condition. Second, try to give some sort of cold press around the region of the burn. This will prevent the skin from undergoing further damage, and the lower layers of the skin will be prevented from third-degree burns. In the case of bones and injury to bones, try to ensure that the area that is affected is not moved unless a medical practitioner has an examination and determines if and whether there is a fracture or a microfracture. These are simple things but can often save much larger medical costs and in certain cases lives. When a child or a person has drowned, the first thing to do is save the person out of the water and enhance breathing, and also check if the person has gulped in volumes of water by putting the person on their underside and then giving their tummy a tug. This should be done in repeated cycles of 5 to 10 pressures that can cause them to vomit out water through their mouth. If the person is choking, in that case, try to ensure that you pull up the person to shoulder height and then let the person slowly lie down with their face down and throw up the water. If the person is conscious, then ensure that the person is lying on their ventral side. But if the person is unconscious, always hold their head in a mildly angled position and turn them to their side. That way, the tongue will not flow back on their throat and choke them. These are some simple first aid practices that need to be taught to children. More advanced techniques for snake bites are ensuring that the type of the snake and the location of the wound is noticed, and if possible, take a picture of the snake and the injury along with the patient to the nearest medical facility. Age-old techniques like cutting the place and trying to suck the blood and the poison out are things which are best avoided until and unless you are an expert and adept at it. These are generally not recommended first aid techniques because certain poisons are neurotoxins that flow along the blood and go straight into the bloodstream further deeper. The technique of chopping the area and removing the poison through crushing out the poison or sucking it out works in the case of musculotoxins, but in many a neurotoxin case that may not be an apt technique. So please ensure that the right techniques of first aid are known and educated to the children in schools. Those were a few messages that I thought would help us understand how first aid can act as an important aspect of our lives and what we need to teach children in practice. Thank you for this opportunity. I hope each of you stay a safe life and at the same time stay prepared. Like they say, prevention is better than cure. Let's learn to be safe. But when the disease knocks the door or when the injury knocks the door, learn how to recover from it fast. Good luck. Cheers. Stay healthy. Stay safe.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable speech. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. Arun Kumar, Principal of Green Valley CBSE School of Excellence, to give a message about first aid.
Very good evening to all the parents, teachers, students of Green Valley Educational Institution, Metric and CBSE. I'm going to give you a small message on World First Aid Day. World First Aid Day is a global observation held on every year of second Saturday in September. It aims at raising awareness of how first aid can prevent injuries and save their lives in every day and at crisis situations also, as well as at promoting the accessibility of first aid. It is a very important one for everyone to know how can be first aid is given. I want to say a happy quote that if any needy person get a first aid from us, then we can say ourselves, we are human, we are God made. Then the next thing, if we are the person whom we are going to give a first aid for others, definitely we should be working on that five-letter word formula, which is none other than brain. Brain, B-R-A-I-N, brain. Here, brain, B letter stands for be calm yourself when you are going to give the first aid for the other person or an injured person. Then second one, you should remove the dangerous objects nearby the first aid person or the injured person. The next thing, always we have to observe the person whose brain functions are going on, how it is going on. The next one, if as per that next I letter, if a person fallen, turn him on side and put something soft under his head to lie down. The last one, N, never let them down like sleeping or going into a deep sleep. That should be maintained till reaches the hospital. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your marvelous message, sir. I would like to call Mrs. Malladi to give a talent Tamil speech about first aid.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். முதல் உதவி என்பது ஆபத்தான நிலையில் இருப்பவர்களை மருத்துவமனைக்கு தூக்கி செல்லும் முன் அவர்களுக்கு அளிக்கப்படும் தேவையான அவசர சிகிச்சையே முதலுதவி ஆகும். முதலுதவி செய்பவர்கள் மருத்துவர்கள் வந்து அவருக்கு சிகிச்சை அளிக்கும் வரை அவருடன் இருந்து முழு விபரத்தையும் தெரிவிக்க வேண்டும். ஏனென்றால் முதலுதவி என்பது அந்த நேரத்தில் செய்யக்கூடிய தற்காலிகமான சிகிச்சை என்பதை உணர வேண்டும். அதை உணர்ந்து நாம் ஒவ்வொருவரும் முதலுதவி செய்ய இந்நாளில் சபதமேற்க வேண்டும். முதலுதவியை பொறுத்தவரை அனைவரும் தெரிந்திருக்க வேண்டிய அவசியம் உள்ளது. அதிலும் குறிப்பாக ஆசிரியர்கள் மற்றும் பெற்றோர்கள் கண்டிப்பாக தெரிந்து வைத்திருக்க வேண்டும். ஏனென்றால் இதனுடைய தேவை எப்பொழுதும் இருக்கும் என்பதை நாம் கவனத்தில் கொள்ள வேண்டும். இவ்வாறு முதலுதவி விஷயத்தில் நாம் கவனமாக இருக்க வேண்டும். ஒவ்வொரு தருணத்திலும் மற்றவர்களுக்கு உதவுவதில் முன்னணியில் நின்று செயல்பட வேண்டும். நன்றி.
Thank you very much for your talent Tamil speech, Mrs. Malati Miss. Next, I would like to call Miss Meena to give a valuable speech about first aid.
Good morning everyone. Today I am going to tell about awareness and importance of first aid. First aid day is celebrated to raise awareness of public of how first aid can save life in everyday and crisis situation. First aid day is first and immediate assistance given to any person suffering from either a minor or severe injury or illness with care and provide preserve life to protect the condition from worsening or to promote recovery. And last, learn first aid, be a hero. Thank you.
Thank you, Meena Miss. Thank you for your wonderful and valuable speech. Thank you, Miss. Now put your hands together to welcome our talented teachers of Green Valley School to perform a mime. So I'll introduce the characters. The first character, Pavitra. Miss Pavitra, she acts as a father. Next, Miss Silambarasi. She acts as a mother. Next, Ashya Sabha. She acts as her son. Next, Mubashira. She acts as her daughter. Next, Zuha. She acts as a bike rider. Then at last, Miss Meena. She acts as a doctor. Now first scene begins. Scene 1. அடிபட்டு அதிகமாக ரத்தம் போயிட்டுருக்குன்னா நீங்கள் வந்து முதல் உதவியாக என்ன செய்யணும்னா அவங்களுக்கு முதல் தண்ணி கொடுக்கணும். ஸோ தண்ணி அவங்க வந்து எவ்வளோ அதிகமாக தண்ணி குடித்தாங்கன்னா அவங்களுக்கு அந்த பிளட் வந்து ஃப்ளோ ஆகிட்டு வந்து ஸ்டாப் ஆகிடும். The second one is water accident. The first one is Zuha Mariam. Second is Miss Arshia. Next third Miss Shafia. Next fourth Miss Mubashira. At last Miss Pavitra. Next, the third mime is about fire accident. Now I will introduce the characters. The characters are Miss Pavitra, and Miss Zuha, Miss Arshia, Miss Mubashira, and Miss Shafia. The mime begins now. The mime completes now. ஸோ ஃபயர் ஆக்சிடெண்ட், இந்த மாதிரி ஃபயர் ஆக்சிடெண்ட் ஏதாவது வந்து நடந்தால் நம்ம முதல் உதவியாக என்ன செய்யணும்னா அது மேலே வந்து நம்ம தண்ணீர் ஊற்றணும். ஸோ தண்ணீரை தவிர நீங்கள் வேறு ஏதாவது மணலோ இல்லை வந்து கம்பளி அந்த மாதிரி போத்துனீங்கன்னா வந்து அது ரொம்ப இன்ஃபெக்ஷன்ஸ் ஆகும். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி தீக்காயங்கள் யாருக்கு ஏற்பட்டாலும் முதல்ல வந்து அது மேலே வந்து தண்ணீர் ஊற்றி தான் நம்ம வந்து அணைக்கணும். நெக்ஸ்ட், the fourth mime starts now. First aid for snake biting. Now the characters are Arshia Sabha, Miss Arshia Sabha, Miss Shafia, Miss Mubashira, the mime begins now. The mime completes now. ஸோ பாம்பு கடித்தா வந்து என்ன முதல் உதவி செய்யணும்னா அந்த கடித்த இடத்துக்கு கொஞ்சம் மேலே வந்து அதில் துணியால் நல்லா டைட்டாக கட்டிடணும். ஏன்னா வந்து ரத்தம் வந்து மற்ற பகுதிகளுக்கு வந்து பரவாமல் இருக்கணும். ஃபஸ்ட்டு அது பரவறதை தடுக்கிறதுக்காக என்ன பண்ணோன்னா முதல்ல வந்து நம்ம ஒரு துணியால் டைட்டாக அந்த கடித்த இடத்துக்கு கொஞ்சம் மேலே வந்து நல்லா டைட்டாக கட்டிடணும். கட்டினதுக்கப்புறமா அதுக்கு முதலுதவி எப்படி செய்யணும்னா நம்ம கையில் இருக்கிற சின்ன கத்தியோ இல்லை பிளேடோ ஏதாவது ஒரு இதுவால் வந்து அதை கீறி அதில் இருக்கிற அந்த ரத்தத்தை, அந்த பாய்சனான அந்த ரத்தத்தை வந்து வெளியேற்றணும். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி வெளியேற்றினா வந்து அவங்களுக்குள்ளே இருக்கிற அந்த பாய்சன் வந்து வெளியே வந்துடும். ஸோ அதுக்கப்புறம் வேணால் நம்ம தும்பை இலையோட சாறை வந்து அது மேலே விட்டோம்னா அந்த பாம்பு கடியோட அந்த விஷத்தை வந்து முழுமையாக எடுத்துரும். ஸோ நம்ம எல்லா விஷயத்துலையுமே வந்து ஹாஸ்பிட்டலுக்கு போகிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி முதல் உதவி மூலமாகவே வந்து அவங்கள வந்து நல்லபடியாக அவங்கள வந்து உயிர் பிழைக்க வைக்கலாம். So thank you. Now I would like to call Mr. Like Hazrat to give Urdu speech about the importance of first aid.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. فرسٹ ایڈ باکس کے مطابق یعنی کہ فرسٹ ایڈ کے مطابق ضروری کیا اہمیت اور ضرور اس کے مطابق بات کرنا چاہتا ہوں. یہ ایک بہت مشہور کہاوت ہے, صحت ہی دولت ہے. اگر صحت نہیں ہے تو کچھ بھی ٹھیک نہیں ہو سکتا. زندگی بہت قیمتی ہے اور زندگی کی حفاظت ہر قیمت پر کرنی چاہیے, چاہے وہ ہماری زندگی ہو چاہے دوسروں کی زندگی چاہے دوسروں کی زندگی ہو. ان کی زندگی کی ہم قدر کرنا. لوگ ہر وقت سے آگے نکلنے کی کوشش کرتے رہتے ہیں. لوگ ہر وقت کو اپنے یعنی کہ فیوچر کو لے کر کو بھاگتے ہیں. یعنی کہ آبادی کے ساتھ ساتھ صنعت کاری بھی بڑھتی جا رہی ہے اور دونوں میں چوہے بلی کی دوڑ ہے. تو زندگی یعنی کہ فیکٹریوں میں خطرناک مشینیں اور ہیوی ٹرافک سب اس کی وجہ سے بھی اور اس کی وجہ سے بہت آفتیں آتے ہیں وغیرہ وغیرہ. یہ سب روز بروز بڑھتا جا رہا ہے. یہ ایسے میں ہر ایک کو علم ہونا چاہیے کہ ایک درست فرسٹ ایڈ باکس میں کیا کیا شامل ہونا چاہیے. حادثہ کبھی بھی کہیں بھی ہو سکتا ہے اور فوری طور پر ڈاکٹر کے آنے سے پہلے آپ کو مریض کو آرام دینے کے لیے کچھ نہ کچھ کرنا ہی پڑتا ہے. یہ اس سے کیا معلوم ہوتا ہے کہ یہ چاہے آفت کہاں بھی کبھی بھی آ سکتی ہے, ہم نہ تکلیف حادثہ کہاں بھی آ سکتا ہے. یہ نہیں کہ روڈ پر آ سکتا ہے یا گھر پر کہیں بھی ہو سکتا ہے. اس لیے ہمیں جہاں بھی ہو سکتے وہاں اس کے قریب فرسٹ ایڈ رکھنا چاہیے. شہروں میں تو طبی امداد بہت آسانی سے میسر ہوتی ہے, لیکن گاؤں دیہاتوں میں ایسا مشکل سے ہوتا ہے. یعنی کہ ایک سٹی میں تو فرسٹ ایڈ کرنا یا ڈاکٹر کے پاس ملنا تو بہت آسان ہو جاتا ہے, لیکن جہاں ہمیں ولیج کو جاتے ہیں یا کوئی قریب ہو جاتے تو وہاں ڈاکٹر سے ملنا ہی مشکل ہوتا ہے اور فرسٹ ایڈ کرنا بھی ایک دوسرے کو فرسٹ ایڈ کرنا ہی مشکل ہوتا. یہ اگر آپ کہیں باہر جاتے یا پکنک کو جاتے تو وہاں بھی ایسا سلسلہ ایسی مشکلات آپ کو سامنا کرنا پڑتا ہے. یہاں تک کہ شہروں میں ہونے والے چند حادثات میں بھی فوری طبی امداد کی ضرورت ہونی چاہیے, ورنہ زندگی چلے جانے کا یعنی کہ اگر طبی فرسٹ ایڈ اگر کسی بھی ہمیں نہیں کرے تو ان کی زندگی بھی جا سکتی ہے, ان کی موت بھی ہو سکتی ہے. اس لیے ہمیں جان پہچان کے یا کوئی بھی ہو اسے ہمیں فرسٹ ایڈ کرنا چاہیے. آپ کے سامنے ایک مثال میں پیش کرنا چاہتا ہوں. اگر کوئی شخص ہوٹل میں کھانے کے لیے گیا اور اس کے پیٹ میں اگر مچھلی کا ایک کانٹا نگل گیا تو اسے آس پاس رہنے والے یا اس ویٹر کو یہ معلوم ہونا چاہیے کہ اسے کیسے نکالنے کی کوشش کرنی, کیونکہ اگر ہمیں دیری کریں یا ڈاکٹر آنے سے پہلے یا ہاسپٹل جانے سے پہلے اگر ہم دیری کریں تو اس کی جان بھی جا سکتی ہے. اس لیے ہم ہر ایک چھوٹی جو بھی گھریلو علاج ہے اس سے جاننا ضروری ہے. اور یا پھر اگر ایک بچہ ماربل کا چھوٹا موٹا ٹکڑا نگل لے تو کیا کرنا چاہیے. فرسٹ ایڈ یہ ایک ابتدائی عارضی اور فوری امداد ہے جو اچانک زخمی یا بیماری ہو جانے والے مریض کو دی جاتی ہے. فرسٹ ایڈ مطلب جو ایک چھوٹا مار یا چھوٹا زخم ہوا تو یہ فرسٹ ایڈ کرنے کے بڑے زخم کے حصے پر باقاعدہ طبی امداد سے پہلے اس سہولت کا استعمال ڈاکٹر کے آنے سے پہلے قبل آرام پہنچانا ہے. یعنی کہ جب بھی ہم جسے بھی زخم ہو گیا تو اس سے ہمیں آرام پہنچانے کے لیے اس سے تسلی دینے کے لیے اس سے بات کرنا اور جہاں تک ہو سکتا ہمیں اس سے فرسٹ ایڈ کرنا چاہیے. عام طور پر یہ طبی امداد دینے والے ایک عام آدمی ہوتے ہیں جسے میڈیکل کی تھوڑی بہت معلومات ہوتی ہیں. دراصل ہر شخص کو یہ معلوم ہونا ضروری ہے کہ ابتدائی طبی امداد کیسے دی جائے. یعنی کہ ہر شخص کو یہ معلوم ہونا چاہیے کہ اگر فرسٹ ایڈ اب کسی کو زخم ہو گیا تو ہم اسے کیا کرنا چاہیے, بلکہ ہر ایک کو یہ جاننا ضروری ہے, کیونکہ فوری امداد نہ صرف درد یا تکلیف کو کم کرتی ہے بلکہ زندگی بچانے میں بھی مدد دیتی ہے. چاہے وہ صرف زخم کو دور نہیں کرتا بلکہ ان کی زندگی بھی بچاتا ہے. کیونکہ اب اگر ہمیں چھوٹا موٹا زخم ہو گیا تو ہمیں ان کو ایک تسلی کی 4 بات کرنا یا ان کو ہمارے ہاتھ سے جو بھی ہو سکتا ڈاکٹر کے پاس یا جانے سے پہلے یا ہاسپٹل جانے سے پہلے ہمیں چھوٹا موٹا ان کو उनकी मदद करने से आपको उनको तसल्ली भी होती है और उनकी जान भी बच सकती है। और डॉक्टर के आने तक मरीज़ को कुछ आराम भी मिल जाता है। सबसे पहली बात तो जानना बहुत अहम है, वो ये है कि हम अपने घर पर फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स तैयार करना और इसमें कौन कौन सी दवाइयाँ होनी चाहिए ये हमने बहुत ज़रूरी है कि अपने घर में आपको कौन सा फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स हमारे घर में भी रखना और आपको जहाँ भी हमें बाहर जाते भी वहाँ भी आपको फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स लेकर जाना, क्योंकि ये आपको आफत कहीं भी आ सकती है। ये नहीं कि आपको कि कोई माइंड दुरुस्त जगह में आ सकता है। घर को फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स को इमरजेंसी किट भी कहा जाता है। एक फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स को एक दूसरी बात भी है कि इमरजेंसी किट भी कहा जाता है, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये हरगिज़ नहीं कि इससे शदीद किस्म की इमराज में इसको इस्तेमाल किया जाए, बल्कि ये छोटे मोटे घरेलू इलाज के लिए होता है। यानी कि फर्स्ट एड ये क्या है तो ये आपको छोटे मोटे मार के लिए आपको ये इस्तेमाल करते हैं। फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स एक मुनासिब छोटा बॉक्स ले लें, यानी कि फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स ये हमारे घर में तैयार करने के लिए एक छोटा सा बॉक्स लेना है। और ये बात याद रखें कि इसमें धूल या मिट्टी ना जाए। हमारे पास जो भी हमें फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स तैयार करने वाले हैं तो उसमें आपको ये हमें ज़रूरी देखना चाहिए कि उसमें धूल भी नहीं जाना और मिट्टी भी नहीं जाना और इसका ढक्कन अच्छी तरह बंद हो सके और इसमें तमाम चीज़ें बआसानी आपको इसमें रखी जाएँ, यानी कि बहुत टाइट रखना नहीं, बहुत आसानी से रखना, क्योंकि इमरजेंसी के वक्त उठाने आसानी हो सकते। बस इससे हमें मालूम होता है कि अल्लाह ताला मुझे और आपको एक दूसरे की मदद करने वाला बना दे और एक दूसरे को अच्छे और बुरे वक्त में साथ देने वाला बना दे। जज़ाकल्लाह व आखिर दावाना अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन।
Thank you very much for your valuable speech, like sir.
Hi everyone. Today on occasion of World First Aid Day, we are going for online flick first aid training. So we always be ready for unexpected emergency. It is important to keep first aid kit in your home. Now we are going to see what are the things we should keep inside of the first aid kit. Cotton, wool, grip, bandage and small bandage, pair of scissors, paracetamol tablets and finally antiseptic lotion or cream with, if you need, pain relief cream or spray. Now we are going to see that a frequent problems which is happening surrounding us and how can we do first aid for that problems. Frequent problems are burnings, cuts and bleeding wounds, and finally the thing which is very important, insects bites and animal bites. So first, burnings. It have some specific kind of first aid. It is better to have a trained person to give first aid. Okay, it means they should have knowledge about first aid. So first thing, burns. When the person get burns by fire, you should keep that part in the place of water. Means if the tap is there, means you should hold the hands in front of tap water. Else you can keep that hands with the ice cubes inside of the ice cubes, or you can spread that ice cubes in top of the hands where the burns was happened, and you can directly send that hands to the water. If you have a bucket of water, you can send that it should be cool, you can send that hands inside of that water. Now after that you want to wipe that place clearly with the cotton cloth. Then you have to apply antiseptic cream. Then you want to go for hospital. This is what the first aid about burns. When burns happen, you should do this. Second thing, cuts and bleeding wounds. Great care should take for this first aid because there is more chances to spread infection, to create infection in this place. Here you have to wash your hands before starting first aid with the soap or water, anything, and you want to cover the bleeding area with the help of cotton wool or cotton pad. you should ensure that for example bleeding part should be kept raised. It is very important. You should ensure that, otherwise bleeding will continue. And next, you should keep packed ice pack on the top of the bleeding place when the bleeding starts, not in the time of bleeding. It avoids inflammation. And finally, you have to apply the antiseptic lotion and you want to tie with the bandage. And it is important and it is very essential to put antiseptic injection for that. Then you have to go for hospital. And final, so burns after cutting, cuts and bleeding wounds. Finally, we are going to see about insects bites. Final thing. So it is happening in all the houses frequently. When insect bites, just wash that place with soap or water or lime water. In lime water, should not use sugar. Then, as usual, apply antiseptic in that place. Then go to hospital. And the very important thing, to avoid inflammation and to reduce irritation, use packed ice. To avoid irritation and inflammation, you may use maximum for irritation. To avoid irritation, you want to use packed ice pack. Packed ice pack. Remember that, packed ice pack for 10 minutes. It will reduce irritation. So these are the small tips for you. So please have this in mind and help to all. When we are the citizen, everyone should know about first aid. There is no deviations in this. The teachers only should know, doctors only should know, nurses only should know. Like that, there is nothing. Everyone want to know about first aid. See, in all the places I told, after completing the first aid, you have to go for hospital. Yes, it is necessary and it is essential to go hospital after the first aid. First aid is not a permanent solution. It avoid spread. It avoid dangerous. Okay, thank you very much.
It is now my pleasant duty to propose a vote of thanks. On behalf of our Green Valley Education Institution and myself, I express my sincere gratitude to all of us, especially our correspondent ma'am, guest speakers, our respected parents, teachers and my dear students for sharing your precious time with us in this evening. Thank you for all.